I'm Kyle Cassidy, and I'm doing my speech topic on the SAT and how test optional for colleges could greatly apply to it. And I made this poster here. It's got different things I'll be using throughout my speech. So I'm going to ask you a question. How did you feel when you took your first standardized test? Do you feel like we as people are doing our best to gauge our own knowledge? As students, we take standardized tests often through class and all this. Also, we take tests, quizzes, a whole bunch of classes just to graduate. And then all at the end, we take one class that determines our knowledge, which seems somewhat unfortunate. These test optional is a very good way and a very good policy to use to force alongside the SAT and the SAT. I've taken plenty of standardized tests throughout my high school career. M-STEP, pre-SAT, and SAT. Also, I've talked with a few advisors from Fair State about the test optional and how it works. Test optional is basically the idea of using essay questions and things of that nature to explain what you've done academically and how you deserve the money they might offer you. First on my list would be how the SAT doesn't give enough time to gauge your knowledge. Second, on how the SAT tries to predict the future instead of gauge your knowledge. And lastly, on how the participants are way overly stressed when you take the SAT. These will definitely show that test optional should be forced alongside the SAT. Back to my first main point. To start off, the SAT doesn't give ample time to complete with showing your own proper knowledge, which this graph right here is created by author Hale Edwards in the 2018 article named "How Long is the SAT?" She made this article here, and it goes in and talks about all the amount of questions. Like reading has 52, writing has 44 questions, and questions per minute is right around a little over a minute per question, which seems ridiculously like a low amount of time to complete questions with knowledge. So it seems as if the test itself somewhat doesn't necessarily cover what you know, but what you can possibly predict, which goes into my second main point. The SAT tries to predict a participant's academic future instead of what they actually know. And on my poster, it says down right here, it says the SAT is not designed as an indicator of student achievement, but rather as an aid for predicting how well students will do in college, which is said by NCES in 2010 in their article Standardized Tests. This quote is saying that they don't actually go over what you're saying, like what you know as a person, but rather what you could possibly be, how you break down problems, and not what you actually know. Which my third down here will be about how the SAT stresses out participants, which is summarized in Dan Edmonds' article, When Colleges Go Test Optional, Who Benefits? Which says, right down here, de-emphasizing the high-stakes SAT and ACT would be positive for most high school students who often spend dozens of hours or more preparing for the test. So basically what he's saying is kids spend weeks, months preparing for this test. They're like way overstressed. When they get to it, they're not 100% sure what they're doing because they're so focused and they overfocus. So those are all my main points. However, I did some more research in Dan Edmonds' article for this last one, and he said that the NACAC studies show that non-submitters have comparable academic performances in terms of both GPA and graduation rates to students who submit their scores. So basically what that's saying is the people that do test optional are just as good as people that do SAT and who succeed. So it's basically saying that it's not the easy way out like most people would think. So that's what I decided to do for you guys. In my spiel, we've talked about how the SAT is timed, like over timed, and then how It's to prepare for the future, not what you actually know, and how it overstresses. And yeah, so that goes to show that the test is a good. Test optional is a good policy to use alongside the SAT and to use for college. So, and before I go, I just want to say that I know nothing in life should be easy, and neither should it be stress-free. In fact, there's a lot of stress in life, but we shouldn't make stress when we don't need it. So, thank you for listening. Back over, please.